Take a breath right now, wherever you are in India. That air you just pulled into your lungs contained anywhere between 35 and 230 micrograms of PM2.5 particles per cubic meter. Medical researchers track how these particles interact with developing lungs, cardiovascular systems, and cognitive performance. After a decade of research, the World Health Organization drew a firm line. They determined that safe annual exposure stops at 5 micrograms. This diagram compares that medical standard to the legal one. Down at the bottom is the WHO guideline of 5. Towering above it is India's National Ambient Air Quality Standard, which permits 40 micrograms annually. The accepted national baseline is 8 times higher than the medical safety limit. This gap means the health risk to a family is built into the environment itself, rather than a temporary fluctuation during a bad winter week. In 2010, India tracked air quality with about 300 monitoring stations. Today, the network has expanded to over 4,500 continuous and low-cost monitors across the country. Delhi's annual average sits around 108. Mumbai averages roughly 50. Bengaluru averages 37. As this chart reveals, every major metro sits 7 to 30 times over the WHO guideline, and this holds true for every year on record. Expanding the measurement network by 15 times did not uncover hidden, clean pockets of urban air. It simply provided thousands of new data points confirming the exact same level of toxicity. Highly toxic outdoor air is a permanent measurement constant. There is no major metro a family can move to and escape these numbers. That being said, the data does show genuine progress. Since 2018, India's population-weighted PM2.5 exposure has fallen by roughly 30%. Targeted efforts under the National Clean Air Program have yielded massive 40 to 70% station-level declines in cities like Varanasi, Kanpur, and Lucknow. These emission reductions represent incredibly difficult, highly successful public policy. But the lungs of a growing child do not respond to relative percentages. They respond to the absolute concentration of particles in the air. A 40% drop is an excellent trend direction, but the final, improved numbers still leave every major metro 7 to 13 times over the absolute medical safety limit. Let's model a scenario of maximum policy success. Suppose the government hits its most ambitious published target, a 40% overall reduction in PM2.5 from 2017 baselines. This projects the outcome for Delhi. Even if the city perfectly executes that aggressive target, the annual mean levels out at roughly 90 micrograms. That means the most optimistic recovery scenario for India's capital still leaves the environment 18 times above the medical guideline. Pushing those numbers down further requires overhauling vehicle fleets, transitioning heavy industry, and managing agricultural cycles across multiple state borders. It is a slow, multi-decade project. Meanwhile, a child's entire developmental window spans just a few short years. The timeline of public policy simply does not align with the timeline of raising a family. You cannot wait for the state to fix the sky. Indians have navigated this exact mismatch before. When the rivers and municipal lines carried high pollution loads, households did not wait for centralized water treatment to catch up. People adapted at the household level. Families started boiling drinking water. Then came candle filters, and eventually the widespread installation of electronic UV and RO units across nearly half of all Indian homes. Nobody treated these purifiers as temporary stopgaps. They became permanent fixtures of the modern kitchen, entirely independent of how fast the government cleaned the local river. The air quality challenge follows the exact same pattern, just one infrastructure cycle behind. For any harmful substance, whether it's heavy metals in a cup or PM2.5 in a lung, the biological rule is that less is better. Treating the air you breathe requires the same permanent, household-level infrastructure as the water you drink. That mathematical target, the number Indian outdoor air has never recorded, is AQI Zero. It is both the standard to aim for and the name of the whole home fresh air system designed to reach it. A positive pressure system continuously flushes indoor PM2.5 below the 15 microgram daily medical guideline. It pushes out stale air, keeping CO2 below 1,000 parts per million, effectively sealing the house against the outside environment. Cleaning the outdoor air is a decadal project for the government. Grade air inside your home is a choice available tonight. 30 years ago, families upgraded from boiling water on the stove to installing a dedicated purifier. Whole home air filtration is simply the next mandatory utility upgrade. The math on the official targets is clear. To review the data and secure your home's air, visit AQI Zero.com.